The year is 1991. The desert stretches endlessly beneath a sky choked with ash. In the distance, the oil wells burn, great pillars of flame that claw at the heavens, turning the horizon into a bleeding wound of orange and black. The air tastes of petroleum and scorched earth. Even 30,000 feet above the sand, the stench seeps through the filtration systems of the Black Hawk helicopter, coating the back of every throat with the residue of a war fought over what lies beneath the ground. The helicopter cuts through the darkness like a blade through silk. Its rotors thrum with mechanical precision, a modern heartbeat against the ancient, indifferent desert below. Inside the cabin, 4 soldiers sit in disciplined silence, their faces half hidden in shadow, rendered in stark contrasts by the faint red glow of the instrument panels. The grain of the night vision displays gives everything a spectral quality, as if they are already ghosts observing their own mission. The pilot's hands rest steady on the controls. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the chill at altitude. The co-pilot scans the thermal optics, a grainy, phosphorescent map of heat signatures that reveals only emptiness. No enemy encampments, no convoy lights, just the endless skeletal dunes and the distant infernos painting the world in shades of damnation. This was supposed to be a simple extraction. In and out, routine. But the desert keeps secrets older than nations. The storm appears on the radar as a wall of interference, a solid mass where there should be clear air. The pilot banks left, attempting to skirt the edge, but the sandstorm spreads like a living thing, its tendrils reaching across the sky with unnatural speed. Within seconds, they are engulfed. The cabin shudders. Not the familiar turbulence of desert winds, but something else. A vibration that seems to resonate in bone rather than metal. The soldiers in the back grip their rifles tighter, knuckles white against black polymer. One man closes his eyes. Another stares at the floor, watching the way the shadows flicker and dance with each violent shake. Outside the windows, the sand doesn't swirl. It pulses, as if charged with electricity. Sparks of static dance along the helicopter's frame, crawling across the windscreen like luminescent spiders. The air inside tastes metallic, sharp, wrong. The instruments begin to fail. First, the altimeter. Its needle spins wildly, then freezes. The GPS display flickers, numbers scrambling into incomprehensible patterns. The pilot taps the fuel gauge. Stuck. The clock on the console shows 23:47, but the second hand has stopped moving. The co-pilot glances at his wristwatch. The second hand twitches again, refuses to advance. Time has broken. The helicopter punches through the top of the storm like a drowning man breaching the surface of dark water. The sky that greets them is not the sky they left. 2 moons hang in the void. One is bone white and familiar, casting its pale illumination across the desert floor. The other is impossible. Larger, closer. Its surface the color of a fresh bruise, mottled purple and black. Together, they paint the landscape in dual shadows that stretch and cross in geometric impossibilities. The dunes below are perfectly still. No wind, no movement. Just the stark, charcoal texture of sand rendered in absolute clarity beneath the alien light. Then the radio crackles to life. No static, no garbled transmission. Just a voice, clear and small and impossibly young. A child's voice, gender indeterminate, speaking with the measured cadence of someone reciting a lesson. 1. The pilot's hand moves to switch frequencies. His fingers freeze halfway. 2. The soldiers in the back turn toward the radio unit, their faces carved in shadow and dread. One man's finger moves to the cross hanging beneath his uniform. 3. The sound is not coming from the speakers alone. It echoes from everywhere and nowhere. From the metal walls, from the air itself, from inside their skulls. 4. 5. 6. The digital displays flicker in unison with each number. The GPS screen shows only a single character now, glowing green against the black. 13. 7. 8. The purple moon seems to pulse, growing brighter with each count. The shadows on the ground below lengthen, darkening, gaining weight. 9. 10. The pilot pulls the collective, trying to gain altitude. The helicopter responds sluggishly, as if the air itself has thickened into something viscous. 11. A soldier in the back leans toward the window, his breath fogging the glass. His eyes widen. His mouth opens in a shout that never comes. 12. The dunes are moving, not shifting, collapsing, falling away like sand through an hourglass, revealing what lies beneath. 13. The child's voice ends. In its place comes a sound like tectonic plates grinding against each other. A bass note so deep it bypasses the ears and vibrates directly in the chest cavity, stopping hearts for a fraction of a second before they resume beating out of sync. The desert floor splits open. Hands emerge first. Not hands of flesh, but massive articulated appendages of carved basalt, each finger the size of a telephone pole, geometric and angular, etched with symbols that predate cuneiform. They grip the edges of the fissures and pull, hauling impossible bodies from beneath the earth. The stone automatons rise like mountains being born. They are not machines as modern minds understand them. They are architecture given terrible purpose. Walking ziggurats of obsidian and basalt, their cores glowing with a light that has nothing to do with electricity. Ancient gears grind within their torsos, visible through gaps in the stone. Wheels within wheels of bronze and iron that should have corroded to dust millennia ago. Each one stands 3 stories tall. Their heads are featureless blocks with single eyes, perfect circles of black glass that reflect the dual moons. Their movements are deliberate, inexorable, each step causing the earth to shudder and crack. There are dozens of them, hundreds, a legion rising from the sand like the fingers of a buried god. The helicopter's engines scream and die. The Black Hawk falls. Not a crash, a descent into madness. The rotors still turn, but there is no lift, as if gravity itself has doubled. The pilot fights the controls, his face contorted in silent desperation, every muscle straining against the inevitable. The soldiers in the back unsling their weapons. Training overrides terror. They fire through the open side doors, controlled bursts, center mass, just as they were taught. The bullets strike the nearest automaton. Sparks bloom like fireworks against its obsidian skin. The rounds flatten, fall away, meaningless as raindrops against a mountain. The stone colossus does not even acknowledge the assault. It simply is, implacable and eternal. One soldier's rifle jams. He stares at it, then at the approaching giant, and something in his eyes breaks. The realization that all his training, all his technology, all the superiority of modern warfare means nothing before these ancient sentinels. The helicopter hits the ground hard, crushing one landing skid, tilting violently. A soldier is thrown from the open door. He hits the sand and immediately begins to sink, not into quicksand, but into the desert itself, as if the ground is hungry. His hands claw at the surface, finding no purchase. The sand flows over him like water, and within seconds, only his helmet remains, half buried and empty. The nearest automaton raises its arm. The limb moves with grinding inevitability, gears clicking and turning within the stone. Its shadow falls across the crippled helicopter, and the shadow has weight. The cabin roof buckles inward with the sound of shrieking metal. Instruments shatter. Glass explodes inward in glittering black shards. The pilot's last act is to look at his watch one final time. All 12 numbers have been replaced by a single digit, repeated around the face. 13, 13, 13, 13. The shadow presses down. The Black Hawk crumples like paper in a fist. The storm returns with the fury of something reclaiming its territory. The sandstorm swallows the site whole, erasing the automatons, the fissures, the broken helicopter. The dual moons fade behind the churning wall of sand until only one remains. Familiar, white, silent. When the search and rescue team arrives at dawn, they find nothing but unmarked desert. The oil fires still burn on the horizon. The war continues around them, oblivious. But one crew member, younger than the others, sharp-eyed, spots something glinting in the sand. He kneels, brushes away the grains with careful fingers. A flight helmet, standard issue, half buried at an angle that suggests it fell from a great height. Inside, nestled in the foam padding, is a pocket watch. Silver, antique, still ticking with perfect mechanical precision. He opens it. The face shows 13 hours. Wars end, empires crumble, but the earth remembers everything, and what it buries, it keeps, until the 13th hour strikes.